Hey everybody, Happy New Year. I know it's February 20th, at least I'm recording this on February 20th. You're probably watching it at the end of February. So how long can we say Happy New Year? I don't know. It's still newish. The year is still newish, so I'm gonna say it. This is the first vlog of 2023. It's last year I did a 2022 overview vlog, but I kind of went over, my intent and goals that I was having for 2022. And so let me discuss on how that went. A couple of things that I decided to start doing in 2022 to further establish some foundational stability in my life. One being quotas. I told myself I'm going to do one podcast a week. I'm going to do 7 TikToks a week, or 1 per day. I'm going to do, one vlog every week or every 2 weeks. I kind of had this list of things that I wanted to accomplish, and I usually did it per week. So that gave me 7 days to kind of figure out when I could film, when I could edit, and how to make all that work together. And it really did take me about the whole year to figure out how to properly do quotas, and maybe I'm still learning how to do quotas because I definitely overestimated what I was capable of within the first 2 weeks. So the first week I absolutely smashed. I did everything I was supposed to do and maybe a little bit more. I felt great. And then week 2 and 3, I absolutely fell apart. And that is because while I was able to perform at that level, at that peak for 1 week, it was unsustainable in the long run. So like running a race, I just sprinted the first however many yards and then couldn't keep up that pace for the rest of the race and fell over dead in the race. But so that was one big lesson very early on. And so I had to figure out what was the priority that week. What should be accomplished before I shoot over other things, because there are some things that are easier to accomplish than others. And there is a trap, at least for me, to where I want to accomplish those things so I can have the good feeling of accomplishment rather than keeping priorities straight to where this is the most important thing to do and get done, but it is also the most difficult. So obviously another lesson that I learned. Second was a focus on writing. When you say writing, it's like, well, what are you writing? Great question, honestly. Screenplays are one thing I've really been focusing on and trying to learn how to produce. I can't even call them short films. They're just scenes. Like they were 1 or 2 page scenes that my friend Pamu and I did. We did those for several weeks in a row, and we just kind of pumped those out as fast as we could so we could learn translating, the words on the page to the image in the camera to editing in the computer. How do we make those all work together? Another aspect of the writing was, what a lot of people will call stream of consciousness, allowing your consciousness to flow and you're capturing those thoughts on pages. I try to go for 3 pages. If I do 3 pages, that usually roughly comes out to 45 minutes to an hour. So that's a solid hour of me moving my fingers, getting my brain to be in that mode to where I'm thinking, capturing thoughts. And a lot of times what you'll see is at first it starts out pretty convoluted, and as you continue to write, you'll see that your thoughts start to become clearer and clearer, and then a lot of times you will grab onto a subject and you will start to descend into that subject, or ascend, whichever way you want to go, but you will start to layer into that idea. A lot of times I've found myself at the bottom or the top of an idea that there's no way I could have gotten there unless I had directed my focus on the idea and followed the trail all the way to the conclusion. And that has been extremely beneficial to me. And then as 2022 started to come to a close and we were getting closer and closer to the new year, I started to think about what I would begin to implement into 2023. Was I going to make any changes? What was I going to add? And as we got closer and closer to the new year, I started to realize that not a lot was going to change. I kind of looked at my goals. Not a lot of the goals were going to change, and that's because a lot of those goals are bigger goals. There were a few goals that I accomplished in 2022, and the next thing was just to bump up to the next layer of that goal. For instance, in jiu-jitsu, I wanted to get my first stripe on my blue belt. Well, that happened way late in the year of 2022. It happened. I got my stripe. And so something like that, I cross off, and the next one is, we'll get the next stripe, right? So things like that transcended over into 2023. But there was a part of me that sort of was a little anxious that there wasn't some new stuff. There wasn't like a totally different worldview that I was going to shift to. And at first that made me anxious, and I thought, oh man, maybe I'm not doing something right. But then after a while of ruminating on it and reflecting, I came to the understanding that this is good. This means that I'm on a track, and it seems to be the right track. Because previously in other years, man, I would really shift hard, be wanting to do this, and then suddenly I do that for a while and say, nah, that's not for me. Shift hard to something else, and I do that for a while. This was kind of the first year was like looking over my goals and looking over my intentions, and I thought, no, this looks good. I need to keep doing this. I need to go deeper into these subjects, into these things that I value. So I felt like that was a great start to 2023. A lot of times in the past, I would just list out goals, things that I wanted to accomplish over the year. So from 2020 to 2021, here are the things that I want to accomplish. But then somewhere between, 2020 and 2022, I decided to start to implement intentions rather than just goals. Goals were something, where reality A will become reality B because of something that I did. Intentions were more about, this is who I am now, but as the year goes on, I want to transcend into this type of person. So then we get to 2023, and I thought, I'm looking at my goals, I'm assessing some of those goals, I'm adding some in, I'm altering some, and then I think of the intentions, and 3 come to mind pretty quickly, pretty powerfully. To me, they were essential. They were essential additions to what I was trying to do and who I was trying to become. And these are those 3. So when these came to me, I'm sitting, in a coffee shop. I have a big notepad out, my laptop up, and I'm just reflecting on the previous year and the year to come. And these just present themselves to me. And the first one was lead and protect. After that, I wrote humbly reclaim the status of leader / actively working on being a better, almost Aragorn-like, play the role that you have been given, protecting with your voice, body, and spirit. So there was an instance we went to see Avatar 2, which was fun. In a theater, you remember those, like you all get together in a dark room, it's like a couple hundred people, and you're all watching a story together, and you get to have like a similar experience with a group. You remember those? Yeah, so that's what we were doing. We were watching Avatar 2, and in this particular theater, you could save your seats. So you could buy your tickets online and pick the seats that you want to sit at. So when we got there, guess what? Someone's sitting in our seats, which is not a big deal because it's like, what's this? Huh? What's this? They were cool about it, but what they said was, we're sorry, but someone else is sitting in our seats. And so this is where I failed. Once we switched seats and we sat down in the correct seats, this girl told me that someone else was sitting in her seats. And the way she said it to me, looking back now, I can clearly see this. She was asking for help. She was asking me to assist her in helping her reclaim her seats. And this is what I said. And it's embarrassing to say on camera because I totally botched this. I totally failed. But this is where the lead and protect come in. I said, oh, well, there's a theater dude right there that could probably help you out. One of the guys that rips your tickets, I kind of abdicated my responsibility as a man and as a leader to help these people. There were several people that needed seats, and I totally just threw it away. And long story short, we got everything figured out. But during the movie, I was just reflecting on that because I understood that I definitely missed an opportunity to, like I said, lead and protect. And so reflecting on that in 2023, I wanted to emphasize becoming a better leader, accepting the responsibility that I had been given to be a leader, to help others become great leaders, and to lead people to become better in themselves. The second one was open, present, able community. A lot of times I will be, open and kind and engaging with people to a point. I will make a line that I will not cross, probably more of self-protection than anything. But what that does is it makes you pretty lonely because you refuse to engage with anybody. And I just thought that, I had lived that way. I had lived that way long enough, and I don't know how long I had been living that way, maybe my whole life, but this is kind of maybe one of the first times that I've become aware of it. And so I thought, moving into 2023, I'm going to be more open with people. I'm going to be more present with people, listening to them, engaging with them, connecting with them. And then this led into the final word in that string of words, which was community. And that was myself telling myself that I need to be more involved in communities. It wasn't directing me into a certain community. It wasn't saying you have to be a part of this group over here. No, it wasn't like that. It was just saying that choose whatever community that you're going to be a part of. I'm part of the martial arts community in our area, specifically jiu-jitsu, but I've gotten deeper into the striking world with some of my friends doing MMA, doing some Taekwondo. And rather than just show up to class, get the workout in, and then bail out, it was, okay, I'm going to engage with this community. I'm going to be a part of this community, offering up not only myself to be present for these people, but offering up the skills that I have too to help the community, however that would play out. That was another very crucial addition to the intentions that I had previously, and I felt like, just like with the first one, Lead and Protect, the open present community one, it fit right along everything else that I was trying to do and who I wanted to become. The third intention is closely related to the second intention. It was speak, communicate, and connect. Now, what does that mean? If you've ever heard of a writer or a musician, when they say, I'm trying to find my voice, or you'll hear someone say they are trying to find their voice, that is where the speak comes from. It's also asking, what do you want to communicate in those positions that you have chosen to take on? And really, the thing that I want to communicate, the thing that I'm good at communicating is encouragement, is truth, blessings, and really deep down, I would say that my calling in life would be set them free. Now, what does that mean? Immediately you might be thinking, who's this arrogant bastard, set them free, like, oh, he thinks he's free, so he should set everybody else free. No, that's not how I feel about it at all. It's more of, helping people to see where they can become free, saying, that hey, the door's right there. Just turn the knob. It's right there. Just go ahead, walk through it. Or helping people to realize outdated forms of beliefs or outdated forms of thinking, and saying, you've held this belief a long time, and you actually fabricated it when you were only 15 years old. I don't think it serves you anymore. That's what I mean by helping people become free. So at the same time, I'm trying to, look over my life and say, what doesn't serve you anymore? What can you jettison off so that you can become better? Okay, so that's an overview of the new intentions of 2023. Like I said, it fit right on top of the intentions that I had before in 2022. I thought that was such a good and great thing that those intentions didn't necessarily change drastically. They actually were enhanced. We actually went deeper into the goals and deeper into the intentions. And that led me all the way to this final thought, which is kind of a mission statement of 2023. To lead and protect, to build up individuals, which in turn will develop strong communities that will allow for all of us to be open, present, and able, while giving us the space to communicate and connect, which will bring us to a place of healing and freedom. That is the mission statement, right? That is my mission statement. I think that's in the right direction. And if we do have to course correct along the way, so be it. But I think it's in the right direction. I appreciate you hanging out with me for a little bit and listening to my overview of my intentions and my ideas for 2023. Leave some goals and intentions that you might have for 2023. I'd love to read them in the comments. Blessings on this new year. Even though we're almost to March, it's fine. It's still a fresh new year, and we can take an opportunity each day to become better and pursue our true selves. So, thank you for watching. I love you. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.